Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. In today's video, my friends, I'm going to be testing FSR3 latest mod that's been developed by Luke FZ. Now I've got the mod here and I'm going to be testing it on Cyberpunk 2077 today. Now the system specs I'm using currently is a Gigabyte RX 6600 and 16GB of DDR4 3200MHz RAM paired with the Ryzen 5 3600 6-core 12-thread processor. Now here we go with the settings here. Let me just show you. This is actually a mod that changes DLSS to FSR3 in the game, and you just need to enable DLSS here on quality, and a frame generation with FSR 2.2 will actually be enabled. Basically it's just a replacement for DLSS with FSR3 and frame generation. Alright, now is enabled here as you can see on quality, and we don't need to enable anything here, and it's automatically doing the frame generation. Now currently I'm using ray tracing here, and as you will see the FPS right now, I'm using ray trace reflection with medium lightning, and everything else I just enabled ultra settings over here. Alright, so let's go into the game and just start counting the frames. Alright, as you can see, the frames are pretty good, but there are some visual glitches on the screen which are pretty annoying in my opinion. As you can see, the map, the HUD and everything is just doubling up when you're walking. When you're still with the camera, nothing happens, and it's pretty fine, it's pretty good looking. But when you're actually running or you're moving the camera faster, the image becomes pretty bad. Now in my opinion, once they will release the official patch for this game, which AMD has promised, which AMD have promised actually, that they will release a patch for this game for DLSS for FSR3, and I don't know when it's gonna come, but we need to actually check out how this game is gonna perform. Now this is actually running ray tracing right now, and as you might remember, this GPU without DLSS is actually pretty bad with ray tracing. This is an RX 6600, which is pretty reaching low end these days, and which is pretty much reaching low end these days, and it's not that competitive in the medium range also. I would say it's reaching to the point where you people might require an update in a year or two. Alright, so as you can see, the FPS is pretty stable at around 60 FPS. Now we're in the city area, we're driving, and this is one of the most intensive things that you can do in the game, and the averages are around 63 FPS. And the game is running also very smooth. There are no glitches, no hitches, sorry. There are a lot of glitches on the screen, that's what you can imagine, and I don't know if YouTube is showing you, but actually you can see that the HUD elements are not behaving correctly here. So actually this is one of the issues that could be resolved. I think Luke FZ, if he's working on this, on the patch for this, maybe he would try to resolve this with the HUD elements. I'm also going to check out different other games like Assassin's Creed Mirage, which he says doesn't work with this currently, but I'm going to still try it out. I'm gonna see if there is any difference, or you could run it or not with FSR3. I'm also gonna try Avatar Frontiers of Pandora if that works, because it also has, or it already has FSR3 in the game. So I would like to see what happens if you replace it with the other one, then like with this Luke FZ mod. Do you get better performance or do you get lower performance? So yeah, these are the ideas that I want to use. Now as a reference, I'm just gonna turn off FSR3 DLSS or FSR3 here, and let's see on the same settings how does it actually perform. Now as you can see, the FPS here is getting about 38. Now there are some glitches in the game which I'm observing after applying Luke FZ mod. As you can see, my car is just flickering. It's flickering as a whole. Let's try and exit out, and let's try and get into the car again. It's still flickering. Screen is flickering a lot. I don't know if it's an issue with the actual game, or this is in the new patch 2.1, or it's actually just an issue with Luke FZ mod. Now let's go ahead and turn it on again on quality, yeah, and I would like to increase the sharpness to about 0.70 now, and yeah, so the car is pretty fine now. The image is looking stable, I would say, and the FPS also very good. If the HUD elements are actually fixed, then I would say this is a very nice experience. And now what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to actually turn off ray tracing here, because that will actually show you what kind of a performance. And this is also an issue. As you can see, there's something happening in the middle of the screen, at this part of the screen. Now I don't know if this, yeah, it's due to the car, and the other car is actually in the background. Now do you see the FPS there? This is pretty good. And input lag, previously when I was using ray tracing and that were with frame generation about 60 FPS, actually the input lag was pretty bad. Now when we're at about 120, I cannot observe much input lag. I'm playing on keyboard mouse, so I'm very susceptible to it, but I don't observe much input lag currently. So yeah, this is very good considering this is free performance coming from just a patch by a modder. I don't know what will happen when they will officially release FSR3 patch to this game. It's gonna perform amazingly, guys, and I know it. And this is a revolution in my opinion, FSR3, for older GPUs also. The older GPUs like RX 580, even the GTX 1650, those GPUs can also go ahead and use this patch and get good performance. So if you guys got a GPU that was pretty old, you could easily just do this patch. It's gonna take 2 minutes. Just follow the instructions that guy is telling you, and that's it. You can just run this game at more than previous FPS, almost doubling the FPS previously which you had. So yeah, all right, let's try to go to the settings again, and now let's go ahead and I'm going to just disable. And let's see. Yeah, we're still getting those glitches, as you can see, with the car. I don't know if it's after applying Luke FC's mod or this was happening with the game with 2.1, because I didn't play that much. Now, let's go back into the car. Now, without DLSS, currently we're getting about 99 FPS. What is happening here? I think, guys, I need to restart the game, because I think it's still applied. Alright, I will just restart the game and I'll be right back with you. Alright, guys, so I've just restarted the game and now the game is actually performing better. It's not flickering that much, so it was not an issue with the game. Actually, when you have to disable FSR3 frame generation in the game, you should restart it afterwards if you want to disable it or enable it. Alright, because the game is not behaving perfectly after you disable FSR3. Alright, so we are currently at ultra settings and we are not using any ray tracing and we're getting about 50 FPS. Let's start counting the frames for our reference. From 50 FPS we get to about 100 and 120 FPS. Now that is a very nice performance bump just with a mod, and you could easily use higher settings. As I already showed you guys, you could easily use higher settings and get very good performance from this GPU now. Alright, let's go ahead and enable DLSS FSR3 on quality again with frame generation, and let's see if it fixes something, because I've restarted the game. No, it does not fix the flickering of the HUD elements, but it actually just makes the frame rate a little bit smoother. Yeah, as you can see, getting about 135, 134, getting close to my monitor's refresh rate, and the input lag is not very bad. The image is also looking very stable. It's not like native, but it's looking very stable in my opinion. Just a little bit blurrier, but I have increased the sharpness to about 0.7, so it's making a little bit shimmery image, but it's still looking good. I think it's manageable. And if you use this mod on 1440p or 4K, it's gonna look even better. So I'm gonna just try that. Let's go to 1440p and let's see how it performs. Alright, guys, so we are now at 1440p resolution, as you can see right here, 1440p full screen mode, and we are using FSR3 on quality with frame generation, and rest of the settings are the same without ray tracing. Alright, so to my surprise, as you can see the FPS there, let's start counting the frames. It's close to about higher than 70 FPS most of the times, and the input lag is also not bad, guys. Suddenly a GPU that couldn't play this game at 1440p and ultra settings, it can actually play it. And if you use the controller, the input lag is a little bit higher than before at 1080p, but it's still very manageable. I'm not seeing much of a difference. I must say that if you use a controller with it, it's gonna be pretty amazing looking, and as you can see the textures and everything, and the game is looking amazing, guys. This is like magic. Oh my god, if they fix the HUD elements and when they apply the official FSR3 patch, this is gonna be amazing. And let's go back to the native settings, native resolution now, and let's see for point of reference what does it do. Okay, so we've got a glitch again for the car, and getting about 40 FPS. Okay, let me just try to, I think the FPS is not fine right now. Let me just try to restart the game. Alright, guys, so I've just restarted the game and we're at 1440p native now without any FSR2 or FSR3, and we're at ultra settings. Now this is the FPS that we used to observe in Cyberpunk. As you can see, close to 30 FPS and 32 FPS at 1440p, and amazingly, as you just saw, the performance even doubled, and more than double, I would say, at about 70 FPS, more than 70 FPS. Now we're dropping even to the high 20s. So yeah, you can see the power of FSR3 now. And now I'm going to actually go to 4K and let's see if 4K actually becomes playable or not. Alright, guys, so we are at 4K resolution now at the same settings, maximum possible, not maximum but ultra preset, and as you can see the performance there, it's at 10 FPS. Now even if FSR3 actually will be able to double it, it will still become about 25. So let's just try it and let's see if it makes much of a difference. Alright, guys, so we have now applied DLSS and the same ultra settings preset Alright, with motion blur and stuff turned off at 4K. Now, previously at 4K we were getting about 10. Oh my, it boosted the FPS 3 to 4 times. 47. What is this? But the input lag is a lot, guys. It's a lot. It's like I'm playing at 20 FPS. Yeah, it's like I'm playing at 20 FPS, but the FPS is higher and the screen is smoother. So it's still a playable experience. That's a given. Yeah, so getting about 50 FPS. Wow, this is a big boost, guys. As you saw, just at a 10 to 15 FPS without any super resolution, without any FSR or frame generation. Now it's going into the 50s. This area is less intensive. So let's go back. If I don't hit these guys, which I already did, let's go back and let's try a 52, 51. Let's start counting the frames if we get some drops. Frame time graph is not smooth. It's actually fluctuating, which usually happens with frame generation, at least with AMD. That's what they say. But yeah, getting into the higher 40s, even touching the 50s. Now I wouldn't mind playing this with a controller, but 1440p was pretty good in my opinion with frame generation, and the input lag was manageable in that case actually. So yeah. Now I think this video shows you guys that what is the power of these things actually. This is just a mod, and when they release the actual patch for this game, it's gonna be amazing. And the performance increase for AMD GPUs and the older GPUs, even the X series and GX16 series and stuff, it's gonna be amazing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I would really appreciate if you leave a like and subscribe to the channel for new content, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.